Hello, silly people on the internet. You ever sit in your bed and think, how can I make life silly? Well, you can't make life silly. Life is not silly. But you can make yourself silly, and that's what this video is gonna be about. So if you watched my How Silly is Hatsune Miku video, then you probably have a grasp on what silliness actually is, but in simple terms, it's a spectrum that goes from silly to goofy. Goofiness is like that one annoying cousin who keeps stealing your stuff and then goes on Twitter to rant about how much of a snowflake you are for being mad at him, totally not targeted. And silliness is about being playful and lighthearted without crossing the line into being annoying. You can think of it as like a sweet spot between being funny and being carefree. Now that you know what silliness actually is, let's look into how you can be silly. I think to start it off, we'll need to look at some silly characters so you can copy their mannerisms or look at them and try to make your own silly mannerisms. Lucky for you though, you won't have to search a while because I have a list ready of some silly characters fact-checked by silly experts. Do you recognize anyone in this list? We got Len, Rin, Emotori, Miku, Sayori, Temi, and Anna. I'm gonna go through each of them and explain what exactly makes them silly. I'm gonna try to make it short, so don't worry. I think that Rin and Len are the most silly only when they're grouped together, because I don't know, they're just silly like that. Emotori is very...
Hello, I'm Otori. M is meaning smile.
Do I even have to say anything about Miku? I have a whole video out on how silly she is after all. She likes sweets, she's very clumsy, what more could you ask for? The amount of silly things this little goober does in Undertale deserves its own video, honestly. The whole series where this girl is from feels like a fever dream, literally the epiphany of silliness. And for those of you who have been paying attention, you might have noticed that there's a similar thing all of these characters have, and that is being random. Exactly, yeah. A big part of being silly is being random. So let's get into how to start being random. It's a nice day. How have you been doing recently? You ever think that bears are actually undercover giant foxes and they're gonna take over the world one day? What the fuck? That's a bit of a weird example and sliding a bit into conspiracy theory, but you get the point. It comes out of nowhere and has nothing to do with the previous conversation, therefore making it random. But that doesn't necessarily make it silly. Let's look into how to make it silly. It's a nice day today. How are you? I love eating cement roads. That's... Please don't eat them. See how instead of making them weirded out by your thought process, you get them concerned? They'll instantly assume that you're joking, but the fact that there's a possibility of them waking up tomorrow and seeing you eat cement roads will instantly make them think you're silly. Or call the cops on you for destruction of state property. Also, make sure that when you're being random, your voice fits into the sweet spot between seriousness and joking. For example, I love eating cement roads. I totally love eating cement roads. I love eating cement roads. I'm so good at examples, right? See how in the first two it portrays a clear motive where the last one makes you wonder whether they're serious or not? That's quite silly, isn't it? So, as a recap, to be silly you need to understand 4 things. What silliness is, studying silly characters, being random, and mastering the delivery of the randomness. I'm sure if you do these things, you'll manage to become silly. And also a quick thing, please don't eat cement roads. I don't think they're good for your health. But you know what is good for your health? Bombs!